how to quite communicate this, how to tell you or speak about this being it, this being what was wanted. The sound of the dog ripping up the paper, the little tail in the background that side. The light, the buzzing of the computer. This is it, baby. It's never not going to be this. The person spends all its time in wanting something else and thinking about something else, trying to get to something else, trying to do something else, and it can't. This is what's happening. And it's alright. This is enough. You don't need all those fancy things you think you do. But there's nothing wrong with moving towards fancy things, but it's not the act of getting the fancy things, it's the moving towards, it's what's ever happening. If there's working towards getting a house, then it's the actual act of working towards it. It's always what's happening. And the mind plays the games. No, this is better. Why is this happening to me? I don't want this. I should have something better. It can't be cutting the carrots. It can't be stroking the fucking dog. It can't be my mundane job. It can't be lack of money. And all of it's conceptual and in an untrue reality. This is it. But how to communicate that? Because as I try to communicate it, it all begins to get really weird. Because all of these problems arise with the idea that you are someone separate inside a body. If that wasn't there, all these problems wouldn't arise. The idea that you're acting independently from everything else. And that's a not true. Not true. So who am I talking to? It all begins to get really odd. Why is she talking? Who's she talking to? Who will be free? Who will be enlightened? Who will not suffer? This is it, Khaleesi, innit? And it's just coming back, even though it was never really lost, but coming back to the simplicity of being. Just being. The beingness, the aliveness, which is always there and never changes and isn't separate from anything, never suffered. It dreamt of suffering. It dreamt of someone that fucked up their life, that fucked up the relationship, that hurt others, that got hurt, that did wrong or right. It dreams of that. And for some reason, Lisa's pointing out that that's not true. And then there's never really a going home, because it's always been that beingness, dreaming and playing all these different things. But there can be the collapse of the dream that you're not at home. Oh my God, I have to just show you the cuteness of my dog. If she knows that I'm looking at her, she's going to start. She's just getting ready to go for a nap. If I look at her, she'll start trying to play again. She's so cute. Amness, the original I, the big I, amness, beingness, aliveness, consciousness, whatever fucking word you feel comfortable with, is free. It's boundless and it cannot be limited to the body. It's not inside or outside, it can't be found, and yet it is everything. Everything. It's everywhere. I is everywhere. And then it plays this funky game that's not really happening, of dreaming that that I is inside a body and in relationships with other I's inside the body. If you cannot think, there's nobody there. Nobody inside and outside. It's only happening in conceptual reality that's become energetical. If you hadn't learned the word I, if you hadn't learned the name, who would you be? If you had brain damage and forgot everything, who would you be? The character, the description of who you are is always coming and going. Coming and going and going and coming. There's something there that's so boundless and huge. And what I'm talking about is when this energy of this tight contracted self collapses, that believes it's inside, and I don't really know how it collapses or why it collapses, and I don't know how or why it really started, but it just kind of falls away, and that dream that you were separate from everything else dies, and with that the suffering dies. And ultimately that collapse is going to happen in physical death, but it can seem to happen when the body is alive as well. The death of that energy that's claiming to be certain things over others. And then the character still carries on, the characteristics of the body still carry on, but the one that took that to be who they were fell away. And then it's another part that arises in this. The character's another thing arising in this. But it's no longer you, it's a part of this. Oh my god, it's so hard to put into words. No freedom is found in morality. No freedom is found in worrying. No freedom is found in trying to save things and make the situation better. That might be happening, but the daydream that will make your life better is a lie. The body might be saving objects, the body might be planning, but the idea that will make you better is a lie. The freedom is in the act of what's happening, in the act of planning, in the act of saving, not the dream that saving will do better, that the morality will do better. But that person's always kept caught in that whirlwind. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. This is it, baby. Now you can see Khaleesi because she's sleeping. She looks so beautiful. So lovely. So that's it. That's the end of the introduction. If you have any questions,